Disney Cruise Dining, and absolutely everything you need to know for dining on the cruise ships. All the details for main dining, specialty dining, early versus late dining. They've even brought back physical menus. They've got new room service menus. They've actually gotten rid of a few very popular items. New transatlantic menus from the Dream's first transatlantic trip. And we're gonna dive into these popcorn bucket issues as well. It's an interesting time on Disney Cruise Line right now. We're going deep here today, so grab a snack, sit back, let's dive in. Earlier this month, Disney Cruise Line was recognized by Forbes Customer Experience All-Stars as an industry leader for delivering outstanding customer service and exemplary dining experiences, and identified by readers of Food and Wine as having one of the best culinary experiences at sea, all while helping create memories that last a lifetime. And that's truly it. They do have experiential dining that also includes stories from when we were young. It tugs on the heartstrings, and it's just really special to share that with your family. And the service is truly top-notch. Before you even get onto the ship, there's a couple of things you want to do for your dining. First, as soon as you book your cruise, you want to request early or late dining. This is part of Disney Cruise Line's rotational dining system. In a little bit, I'll get more into this and into the details of each specific main dining restaurant, but for right this minute, what you need to know is that early dining is typically about 5:45, late dining typically starts about 8:15, and these dinners usually take about an hour and a half. So if you've got tiny humans that are not going to make it till 10 o'clock, you might want to consider the early dining. Early dining is the one that will quote-unquote sell out. Don't be discouraged if you do not get it right away. If you end up with late dining, I'm quite sure you'll still have a good trip. You can always get them food from room service, quick service. They can go to the youth clubs while you're at dinner if you have late dining. But if you're wanting the early dining time and you did not get it right away, just keep checking. If you're using a travel agent, let them know that you would like early dining timing. And if you've booked direct with Disney, you can contact them. Disney Cruise Line has recently made it a bit easier to make dining requests. On their website, you can log into your reservation. Once you get into there, at the bottom of the page, they're going to have a little area for special requests. There are 5 possible requests on here. You can only make one, though. You can choose to be near a window, in a quieter location, because as we said, they do get pretty loud, near a screen for the entertainment. You can also request a private table, or if you'd like to be near the center of the dining room. The center of the dining room is going to be for your in-person entertainment like Arendelle and Tiana's Place. The screen is for those places like Animator's Palette, where they're going to have a lot of animation on the screens. In here, you can also list your dietary preferences, any celebrations or child amenities that you need as well. They do not guarantee any of these, but it is certainly best to make the request, and the sooner the better, because sometimes they have wait lists for things. And of course, you want to be at the top of that list if you can't get your selection. If anyone in your party is going to be traveling with disabilities or medical conditions, they actually have an entire guidebook that can assist you through that process. Just Google Disney Cruise Line Guests with Disabilities Guidebook. That should get you there. They also have a dedicated phone line and email for special services, so those are other ways that you can reach out as well. If you have the early dining time, then you will have the Broadway style show after dinner. So you can do the show and then dinner, or dinner and the show, or you can do whatever the heck you want and not do either. If for some reason you do not get early dining and you really want it, another way you can approach that is as soon as you get on the ship, you can go straight to the dining guest services team and request early dining from them. They might be able to do that for you. Here's where an early port arrival time comes in really handy, because if you are among the first groups on the ship, obviously the lines are going to be shorter and you'll have more probability of getting that dining time that you want. One other thing you want to make sure and do before you get on the cruise ship is make your specialty dining reservation. If you are a brand new cruiser, 75 days prior to your cruise, you will be able to select onboard activities and reservations. And you want to make sure and make a reservation for specialty dining. If for some reason you don't get a reservation, keep checking. They will drop out. I check actually once or twice a day, very quick and easy, and I will usually find a reservation before we even get on the ship. If you don't have one before you get on the ship, go straight to that dining team, make your request there. Sometimes they can do it right away. If you can't get it there, then it might not be happening, but go ahead and get on their wait list just in case. One other thing that you want to look at before you get on the ship is onboard gifts. They do have some food items in here, cheese plates, fruit plates, some Rice Krispie treats. I have never heard that any of these are truly worth it. There's so much food already on the ship. You really just don't need this. It is a pretty thing to walk into your room, so I guess that's a consideration, but we really don't get these. The one thing I highly recommend on the onboard gifts, though, is their romance package. They have this for 1 or 2 people with Prosecco or non-alcoholic sparkling cider. It's about $130 for the package for 2 people with the Prosecco. You'll get the bottle of Prosecco, some chocolates, and 2 robes. We absolutely love these robes. And it is really nice to walk into this in the room. For the onboard gifts, they will have wine packages available as well. These are not a deal, they are just pre-purchase. If you purchase the wine package and want one of those bottles at dinner, they will charge you you a corking fee. I believe it's $25. So you want to be aware of that. Disney Cruise Line does have a carry-on policy. Each adult 21 or older can carry on 2 bottles of wine, Prosecco, or champagne, or 6 bottles or cans of beer per person per port. If you are looking for something of a little bit of a deal with alcohol on the cruise ship, they also have a drink of the day glass. It's only available on the first day of your cruise. You can refill that glass with the drink of the day for about $6. So it's a fun souvenir, plus it gets you a little bit cheaper drinks with just a tiny bit more in the cup. They also have a beer mug that is a similar concept, another ounce or two for a tiny bit lower price. Just take that beer mug with you or trade it in for a coin to take with you and get it refilled when you're ready. Once you get on the ship, you're most likely going to want to get something to eat. Embarkation lunch on that first day of your cruise is a little bit different than any of the other lunches on board. You will have multiple options. You can go to the sit-down restaurant, to quick service, or to their buffet. The crew members are typically directing you towards the buffet, and they have seating inside, outside. We avoid the buffet. It gets really busy. I just don't like that energy. A lot of people really love the Embarkation buffet, though, on that first day. People like to get these crab legs as well as lamb. They just have different items that will not be available throughout the rest of the cruise. And Marceline Market on the Disney Wish jazzes it up just a little bit with some barbecue and Mexican food available as well. You can also go to the main dining restaurant for sit-down lunch. This again will have a specific menu that's only available on that first day. We really love their leek and potato soup and their muffaletta sandwich. A lot of people love this sandwich. It just lets you know your vacation has begun. And this sundae tastes just like an ice cream shop smells. It was so good. And we do like to get as early of a port arrival time as possible just to get on the ship, make our requests, and start our cruise. You do not need reservations for lunch. You only need them for specialty dining, and Disney will select your rotational dining for you. We'll go into that. Let's talk about the dining options. First things first, main dining on Disney Cruise Line is definitely different than any other cruise line. We'll go into main dining really in depth at the end of the video. I'm going to tell you every restaurant, ranging from Animator's Palette, where you can enjoy a meal surrounded by your favorite Disney characters, to Tiana's Place, where you'll feel like you're in the heart of New Orleans with live jazz music and Southern-inspired dishes. We really love Tiana's Place. Disney Cruise Line offers a rotational dining system, meaning you will rotate through 3 different main dining rooms throughout your cruise. This allows you to experience a variety of menus and themes. What's really fun about this rotational dining is that each of your servers will also travel with you. You will have your main server for the food, your assistant server who will handle the beverages, and then a head server that you might see once during the trip. You don't see them very often. So you'll really get to have customized service throughout your trip, as well as familiar faces at dinner each evening. This is one of our favorite parts of rotational dining. You really get to know your wait service team, and they get to know you, your likes, your dislikes, your preferences. It's fun to talk to them again at the end of the day. Your dining rotation will be selected for you, and you will find out what that is when you get on the ship. In addition to the main dining rooms, Disney Cruise Line also offers casual dining options, like the poolside quick service restaurants. These are going to be similar offerings with a little bit different names. All of these locations are going to serve your typical burgers, fries, pizzas, and sometimes they will also have some other availability of healthier items, fruits, salads, some curries. Definitely check those out. On the Disney Wish, their dining is a little bit different for their quick service. They have kicked it up a notch. The Disney Wish will have Mickey and Friends Festival of Foods, which will include 5 uniquely themed quick serve venues. These will have pizzas and burgers, but they will also have tacos and barbecue, which they do not have on the other ships. Mickey's Smokestack Barbecue and Donald's Cantina are exclusively on the Disney Wish, and I've heard they're really good. A couple of things we really like at quick service are the French fries. They are so good. I can't believe it. Definitely French fries for the win. Now, that being said, I have also heard that their chicken tenders on the cruise ships are amazing. I haven't tried them yet, but I've heard they're absolutely phenomenal. So, if you have a chance, make sure and try the chicken tenders and the French fries. Another thing that we really like is on the Magic and the Wonder, and that's the shawarma. They'll also have lots of other options out there, including ice cream. They do close that at night though, so make sure you check the hours for that as well. And that ice cream is included with the cost of the cruise. One of the things that really sets Disney Cruise Line apart from other cruise lines is their attention to detail when it comes to dietary restrictions and food allergies. They offer a variety of options for guests with special dietary needs, including vegetarian, gluten-free, and kosher meals. If you have any dietary restrictions or needs, make sure you mention those every time. You'll want to mention it to your main dining team just to make sure they're up to date. Sometimes they will want you to do your menu selections the evening before, so make sure and have those conversations with them. This is the great thing about rotational dining. They will go with you from restaurant to restaurant each evening, and they know your preferences and your needs. When you are going to quick service, buffet, anywhere else for food on the ship, also make sure you mention dietary needs. Make sure you are getting what you need. While Disney does know you very well, and people will say hi to you on the ship that you're like, how do they know my name? They will not have this information at every place about any dietary restrictions. So just make sure you verify that you're getting what you need throughout your cruise. And of course, they also offer dining for breakfast and lunch. One of the main dining rooms will be open for breakfast and lunch. It's only open for about an hour and 15 minutes. So if that's important to you, make sure you verify those times. They will also have breakfast available at their buffet restaurants, Cabanas or Marceline Market. They have limited hours there too. It's a little bit more than the sit-down restaurant, but they're typically open for just a couple of hours. So again, check those breakfast times and be warned, it's gonna be busy. It can be difficult actually to find a table. So if you are able to snag a table while someone else gets the food, that might be the way to go. The last option you have for breakfast would be room service. They do have a continental breakfast menu that is available. You can hang it outside your door if they have the physical ones again, or you can do it on the app, whichever way they are doing it. We like to get a little bit of fruit, juice, coffee for about 9 a.m. We'll take that out onto the veranda. It's a really nice way to wake up. And of course, you're also going to have your quick service availability. They're not really going to have breakfast though. That's definitely more of a lunch vibe. Their lunch hours are pretty limited as well. Main dining again will have about an hour and 15 minutes, maybe 12 to 1:15, while the buffet restaurants will have a couple of hours from perhaps 11:30 to 2, 12 to 2, something along those lines. We had this wonderful curry in Triton's for lunch on the Wonder, and their calamari was pretty good too. And room service does have a little bit more selections for lunch and dinner. Historically, our favorites have been the Caesar salad, the Greek salad, the cheeseburger, the BLT, which is really popular, and the all hands on deck. I want to focus on the room service real quick because they have been changing menus. So room service is included with the cost of your cruise. It is available 24 hours a day until the last evening of your cruise. They typically end at about 2 a.m. There are a few things on that menu that are not included. They will be noted though. As you may know, room service rarely changes. They have had a long-standing menu, which is what leads to some of those favorites. And they have tried taking favorites off the room service menu before with both the BLT and the all hands on deck cheese platter. It did not go very well because they were both back on the menu very quickly. Recently, I thought perhaps they were changing the menu because of the Disney Dreams first transatlantic trip for the European season this summer. When the newest ship came out last year, the Disney Wish, it actually had a little bit of alterations to its room service menu, where they have taken off the BLT, the pepperoni pizza, the steak panini, and those two salads, which was quite a surprise. It is even more surprising, though, to see that the Disney Dream has now followed up with that new menu, which implies that the other ships will change as well. They should still have warm cookies and milk available with room service, and they do have Mickey bars. They're not on the menu, but they have them. And if you get those cookies in the Mickey bar, you got an ice cream sandwich. But with room service, tips and gratuities are not included. So you do want to make sure you have some money in your budget for room service. We typically do $1 to $2 per item, depending on how many we get. There have been some new menus popping up on the transatlantic because of Disney Dream's first transatlantic trip. The Disney Magic was doing transatlantic trips previously, and Disney Dream has completely different restaurants than the Disney Magic, well, except for Animator's Palette. So they do have some new menus, plus the transatlantic is like 13 or 14 nights, so of course they've got to have special menus for that as well. Some of the items are the same and some have changed, just a little bit of fun for those longer cruises. And thank you so much to Disney and Mia, who was on the most recent transatlantic cruise from the Disney Dream and was willing to share these menus with us. Thanks again, Disney and Mia. I hope I said that right. They will also have a buffet restaurant. It is Cabanas on the first 4 ships and is called Marceline Market on the Disney Wish. Cabanas is a beach boardwalk flair with your typical buffet foods. They have 10 food stations. They will have breakfast and lunch. Of course, they will have the traditional breakfast items on there. Some of the favorites are their made-to-order omelets and, of course, the Mickey waffles. Juice, sodas, teas, and coffee is included with the cost of your cruise in the buffet. If you want a latte or a cappuccino, that's going to be at the Cove Cafe and is an additional charge. Worth it, but additional charge. And a side note, while you're at the Cove Cafe, try their mocha experience. It is an iced coffee with alcohol, and it is so good. I usually think alcohol just ruins the taste of my coffee, but not that one. For lunch, they will have items like salads, soups, burgers, sandwiches, steak, seafood, pizza. You get the idea. And of course, tons of desserts. On the Disney Wish, they will have Marceline Market for their buffet. Marceline Market will also have that buffet style for breakfast and lunch and table service just dinner at night. So if you don't want to go to main dining, you can go there for dinner. We went to Cabana's for dinner one time on the Disney Wonder. It was not very good, I gotta say. There was nobody in there, the food was okay, and it was right over a really shaky part of the ship, so there's something to consider. For the Marceline Market, they will have American classics, international specialties, comfort food, seafood, vegetarian and plant-based fare, and of course soup salads and many desserts. One of the fun facts about Marceline Market, it is named after Walt Disney's early childhood hometown in Missouri. The Marceline Market recalls the look and feel of popular dining plazas around the world, but with a distinctly Disney twist. They also have an ice cream shop or a sweet shop on the Dream, Fantasy, and Wish. In those shops, all of those items are an additional charge. And if you're lucky enough to be sailing during the holidays, you'll get to enjoy special holiday-themed meals and treats throughout your cruise as well. One other thing on 7-night or longer cruises is the character breakfast. This is also included in the cost of your cruise. You just want to make sure you make this reservation when you are doing your online selections. So a few other things just to be aware of. They do have coffee and smoothie bars available for the teens in some of their clubs, so you want to make sure and have a bit of a budget for your youth. One of the great tips I have heard is letting them do chores and stuff around the house before you go on the ship. That way they can earn their own gift cards, and then they can use that to buy what they want on the ship. Really good for helping them budget money, plus it helps with the excitement building up to the cruise as well. Another thing the tiny humans really like is the quick service locations, because they can go up and order by themselves. If they want a pizza, they can go up to the Pinocchio's Pizzeria and ask for it, and they'll get it. And that's a big deal for tiny humans, because typically they're not allowed to order their own food, and even if they try, people usually ignore them and look to the parents. So I've heard that's a lot of fun for them to be able to just go order whatever they want whenever they want. Now, if you've got really little ones, they do have some things to be aware of. The minimum of age for travel on the Disney Cruise Line is 6 months on the day of sailing. If you happen to have one of those babies on board, they will have some complimentary items that you can use, such as bottle warmers, sterilizers, cribs, etc. They also have strollers and pack-and-plays that can be available. You can check with them on that. But as far as food goes, they have fresh pureed vegetables that can be prepared at the main dining rooms and through room service upon request. And then they do have some infant formula in the shops as well. Just be aware, all of these services and amenities for the babies are first come, first served basis, so get on early and head straight to guest services if you need these. And if you do need to reserve a crib or make special arrangements, just go to My Reservations, select special requests, and fill out their special request forms. This is also where you're going to find your food allergy forms. Guests may bring baby food and formula on board the ship. They have to be in their carry-on items, and they do need to be pre-packaged, unopened, and do not require any food prep from the kitchen. There are 2 experiences that are for your little ones exclusively. On the first 4 ships, they will have a Royal Court Royal Tea Party. This is for ages 3 through 12, and it is a tea party starring Disney characters. Now let me tell you, this one is a reservation in advance, and it's expensive. And this is not to be confused with the Royal Princess Gathering. The Royal Princess Gathering is a meet and greet with multiple princesses. You do reserve that ahead of time as well when you do your online selections, but there is no charge for that. You just need the reservation. The Royal Court Royal Tea, however, is a whole event. They state, quote, "The Royal Tea hostess and Royal Pastry Chef are pleased to make your acquaintance and encourage you to join in the fun as they sing, dance, and regale you with stories. Feel like royalty and delight in a very special meet and greet with some favorite Disney princesses." This regal feast includes a selection of herbal teas, 2 delicious courses, 1 sweet and 1 savory. And if you have dietary restrictions, make sure you note that in those request forms. They used to have the cost per person as well as all the gifts that are received at this event on their website, but they do not have that anymore. So you actually have to go in to see how much it is when you reserve it. They will have princess themed gifts and night themed gifts. This is exclusively for ages 3 through 12 and their parents. Parents must be with their children, and solo adults are not eligible for this event. It used to be about $250, I believe, for the child, and maybe 50 something for the adult. The gifts have been changing though since cruising has come back, so I think that's in a little bit of flux right now. But certainly can be a fun experience, especially if you go to Bibbidi Boppidi Boutique earlier in the day and get a royal makeover. On the Disney Wish, they will have Olaf's Royal Picnic. This is again for ages 3 through 12. This features Olaf, Anna, Elsa, and Kristoff. Guests are invited to celebrate summer during a one-of-a-kind picnic in the beautiful Arendelle Castle. They really have this done up with a lot of flowers everywhere to make it look really beautiful. They state it's a delightful afternoon of summertime melodies, treats, and merriment. This picnic will have summertime treats served by the castle staff. It is $2.25 $20 for children and $69 for adults. Every child in attendance receives a distinguished assortment of gifts during the picnic, including Olaf headwear, cinch bag, mandolin, troll plush, water bottle, activity book, picnic blanket, and a troll necklace. Again, you need to make your reservations ahead of time, and adult guests without a child are not eligible for this event. Be careful with both of those. They need a 3-day cancellation in case you change your mind. They will have Pirate Night on your Caribbean or Bahamian cruises. Pirate Night is really more of a day. It's going to be a fun day full of pirate activities. People are going to dress up in their pirate costumes, and there's going to be a special Pirate Night menu at dinner. I will say that the Pirate Night menu is one of the least favorite menus on the ships. That being said, we really enjoyed the crab cakes and the jerk chicken. They're not really strong, spicy flavors, but they were really good. There used to be a pirate buffet after that pirate party. It does not seem to have come back yet, and I think that it might not. It's not a really big deal. Some people really like that buffet after the party. I definitely don't think it's a make or break type of deal. There's always room service available. Obviously, that's not going to have as much as a buffet, but you're usually pretty full by then anyway. So if you do have it happen on your sailing, please let us know in the comments below. They will also have snacks in the pub that are included with the cost of your cruise. They will do these sometimes around 5 or 6 and sometimes around 10 or 11. This is things like some wings, cheese sticks, just some traditional snack foods at the pub. They also have a menu at the pubs. The items that are set out in their little mini buffet are included. Anything on the menu is an additional cost. They do have popcorn on the cruise ships, and they will sell popcorn buckets. Now here's the controversy. It seems that lately, the Wonder in particular, is not letting people refill old popcorn buckets. Traditionally, you can bring your popcorn bucket with you and pay like $2 to get it refilled anytime you want while you're on the ship. On the Wonder in particular lately, they have not been accepting the older popcorn buckets. They will make you buy a new one, or you can just get a bag of popcorn for like $2. I'm not really sure what's going on there, if this is a trial, if this is a permanent thing, just something to consider. And honestly, if you're not bringing a popcorn bucket with you, then you've got more room in your suitcase. Disney Cruise Line has 2 private islands, Castaway Cay and Lighthouse Point. Food on their private islands included in the cost of the cruise. Castaway Cay is their first private island in the Bahamas. It will have cookies buffet both in the adult-only area and in the family area. I do like to enjoy the adult-only area, Serenity Bay on Castaway Cay, and their buffet is so good. They will have ribeyes on there that just really hit the spot. Once in a while, they'll have fish or lobster as well, depending on if they have any leftover from main dining. And that is typically going to be your 7-night or longer cruises, because that's when they break out the lobster. Lighthouse Point is their second private island in the Bahamas, and it will open next year. The food on that island will be included as well. That can help with the cost of the cruise as well, because you're just not having to pay for more lunches on those private islands. And one fun thing they have at Castaway Cay and on board the ship is ice cream. I love that little play on words. Cove Cafe is an 18+ coffee shop and bar. On the first 4 ships, the Magic, Wonder, Dream, and Fantasy, there is a case of food that is included with the cost of the cruise inside that cafe. During the morning, it'll have your typical sweets that are available with some cheese and olives in the afternoon. On the Disney Wish, they do not have that case in the Cove Cafe, but you can still find sweets and cheese on board. The Marceline Market will have a cheese plate on the Disney Wish. Disney Cruise Line's Concierge is their VIP staterooms on the ship. Obviously, you pay more for these rooms, but you also have exclusive areas specifically for concierge guests only. Some of the fun perks with food and dining for concierge guests are the Concierge Lounge, which has included food and drinks. They also will have complimentary wine, beer, and spirits in the Concierge Lounge in the evening, free popcorn in the movie theaters, and room service ordering of hot breakfast or dinner from the main restaurants. And those in the concierge level suites also have an expanded room service menu. And this is the only way to get hot breakfast delivered to your stateroom. They will have an exclusive Embarkation Day lunch specifically for concierge level guests. In order to enter the concierge lounge, you must use your key card to get in. There will be staff right there ready to help you with whatever you might want. They will have a food and beverage area, and apparently this coffee machine is amazing. I truly want to try concierge because I want to try their coffee. I know, that's ridiculous. In the concierge lounge, they'll have light snacks, small plates. They'll rotate them throughout the day. They have a lot of different foods there that aren't available on the rest of the ship, including sushi. Once in a while, you can find sushi at the buffet. You can also get some breakfast or a snack in there whenever you are in the area. And they also have a help yourself fridge where you can go get sodas, waters in cans that aren't going to be available included with the cost of the cruise anywhere else. Each evening, they will have the beer, wine, and spirits in the lounge. And they will also have mocktails and alcohol-free available available as well. Of course, the extra fun thing here as far as the food is that you can have a hot breakfast delivered in the mornings and you can have main dining delivered in the evenings. I definitely see how this would be exciting if you just don't want to see anybody, or if you've cruised many times and are kind of burnt out on the main dining rooms. This could really be a fun addition. One of the fun perks with this is actually on disembarkation morning. That can be really stressful, the entire disembarkation breakfast process, and if you're sailing Concierge, you don't have to deal with any of that. You can enjoy a light breakfast in the lounge, and then the staff can take you and your luggage down a private elevator to get straight off the ship. We have not done Concierge yet, but I would say that is a huge perk. That morning getting off the ship is a bit rough, and the food and the bags are a huge component of that, which completely is eliminated if you are cruising Concierge. Cooking demonstrations and cooking classes are also available. These are going to be on your 7-night or longer cruises. All 5 of the ships will have a cooking demonstration where a chef from the ship will show you how to prepare a specific menu item, and sometimes they'll have a little wine tasting with that as well. That is included in the cost of the cruise. You can find the times and the dishes that are in the class located on the Personal Navigator app, which pro tip you definitely need. If you have not downloaded the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app, go ahead and do that. You're going to need it for practically everything, and you can even make requests through it before the cruise. If you happen to be on a 7-night or longer cruise on the Fantasy, they have Palo be our chef. They state, quote, "Eat, drink, and prepare for an incredibly appetizing adventure only on the Disney Fantasy." In this class, you'll get to learn how to make margarita pizza, butternut agnolotti ravioli, and Palo's popular signature dessert, the limoncello tart. After you're done, you'll get to feast on your own authentic antipasto and tomato mozzarella caprese salad, as well as your own creations. You will also be sampling a selection of Italian wines, while Palo's resident sommelier explains the intricate art of wine pairing. You'll get to cook side by side with the Palo chef in Palo's kitchen. This class is on the Fantasy only. It is on port days only, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. It is limited to 8 people, and it's $279 per guest. With the class, you will also receive a Palo chef's jacket, apron, hat, and name tag, plus a keepsake menu, recipe cards, and photos with the chef, as well as a surprise guest, of course. They also have a little bit of a different approach on the last day of the cruise. You typically are expected to be off the ship by 9 a.m., and they will assign your last morning breakfast time dependent upon whether or not you had early or late dining. If you had early dining, your breakfast will be at 6:45 a.m., with late dining having a 7:45 a.m. breakfast. That's a little too early for some people, so they also have the buffet available. You can just go up there and get your food. It's basically a very limited menu with items that are quick to serve, just some bacon, eggs, waffles, stuff like that. And they will bring pastries around as well. In addition, anybody going to main dining on that last morning is going to see a lot of suitcases. There are a lot of people that, of course, will have their carry-on. Some people will take all of their luggage off, and it typically really builds up in the front of the restaurant, so just be aware of that. And one last thing people really like sometimes about Disembarkation Breakfast is that they can give their gratuity envelope directly to the serving team themselves. We have a whole video on tips and gratuities, so go check that out. But basically, a lot of people like to put a little bit additional money into the envelope in addition to the prepaid gratuities, and they just like to hand that to their servers directly. Especially the longer the cruises, the more you're going to get to know those servers because they are with you every night. It's really a great experience, but you definitely want to have a little money budgeted for additional gratuities for them. A few other random things that you will notice food-wise on the ships. On longer cruises, sometimes they will have a Disney Vacation Club lunch or gathering with some cocktails or food. They will have a loyalty reception for their gold members, 8-night or longer cruises. They will also have a captain's meetup on the 7-night or longer cruises. This is in the main atrium. They'll be passing around some cocktails, and those are included. On the Halloween on the high seas and maritime cruises, they will have some fun treats and drinks. Obviously, with the Halloween, you're going to get to do some trick-or-treating for some candy. They will also have special area menus. For example, if you're going to Alaska or on one of the European cruises, those are all typically 5 nights or longer, and they will have special menus that are inspired by the region you're visiting. One other thing people like to do is get Uncrustables from the room service menu. I cannot guarantee these are available, especially with the recent changes to the room service menus on some of the ships. However, historically, Uncrustables are available on the room service menu. You can take them off the ship, they just need to be sealed. Those can be a good snack for your little ones or even for adult ones. Whether you're a seasoned cruiser or a first timer, dining is a major part of your cruise experience. So let's dive into the main dining. I'm going to go through each one briefly. All of the ships will have fun dining experiences with different different levels of immersion. On Disney Cruise Line, there are going to be 3 main dining restaurants that you will rotate through for dinner every evening. A few things that are very unique about main dining on Disney Cruise is 1, the set dining times. So if you've got tiny humans that are not going to make it till 10 o'clock, you might want to consider the early dining. Early dining is the one that will quote-unquote sell out. Don't be discouraged if you do not get it right away. If you end up with late dining, I'm quite sure you'll still have a good trip. You can always get them food from room service, quick service. They can go to the youth clubs while you're at dinner if you have late dining. But if you're wanting the early dining time and you did not get it right away, just keep checking. If you're using a travel agent, let them know that you would like early dining timing. And if you've booked direct with Disney, you can contact them. There are some ways on the website to make some preference notations. This would be one of those. If you have the early dining time, then you will have the Broadway style show after dinner. And if you have the late dining timing, the Broadway show will be available before dinner. So you can do the show and then dinner, or dinner and the show, or you can do whatever the heck you want and not do either. If for some reason you do not get early dining and you really want it, another way you can approach that is as soon as you get on the ship, you can go straight to the dining guest services team and request early dining from them. They might be able to do that for you. Here's where an early port arrival time comes in really handy, because if you are among the first groups on the ship, obviously the lines are going to be shorter and you'll have more probability of getting that dining time that you want. And having your team of servers. One of the important things to note is that Disney Cruise Line will assign multiple parties to one table, especially if you're traveling as 1 or 2 people. When my son was 14, I traveled as a single mom with him. It was just the 2 of us. They did seat us with 2 other single moms and their 14-year-old son. So it was quite fun, actually. After that, though, we requested our own table and we were always able to get that. Disney is really good about dietary requests. If you have allergy-friendly or intolerance requests, make sure and let them know they do have allergy-friendly menus as well. If you need to request a special dietary meal, you can do that on those special requests under the My Reservations. And if it's a kosher request for Passover meal, it has to be submitted 10 weeks in advance. And they absolutely cannot store, prepare, cook, or reheat any foods that are brought aboard by any guests. But they will absolutely make their best efforts to accommodate any needs that you have. So if you do want your own table, just put in that request. It's not guaranteed, but certainly worth asking for. If you're going on a 3-night cruise, you'll rotate through each of the 3 restaurants and you'll have their main menu for those restaurants. If you're on a 4-night cruise to the Caribbean or Bahamas, they will also have Pirate Night. You will have the 3 main dining menus and then the Pirate Night menu. If you are traveling 5 nights or longer, you will continue rotating through the same restaurants, but the menus will change. For example, on a 7-night Caribbean cruise, you're going to have the 3 main dining restaurant menus, a Pirate Night menu, and then they have a rotation that they will use after that with a Prince and Princess dinner, See You Real Soon, Captain's Gala. That way you still get to enjoy these restaurants, but you will have a new menu to enjoy as well. For these main dining restaurants, you will be assigned a rotation, so you know which restaurant to go to on which evening. Historically, these would be on a card that they will give you when you get on the ship. It's called your Key to the World card. It'll open your door, it would have your dining rotation and time in there, table number, and you can use it to charge things to the room. They did make some changes where they started putting the dining rotation and dining time on the app instead of the card. There was a glitch with the app and this caused a huge problem because nobody knew where to go. So I won't be surprised if they stop doing that, but of course time will tell. One really interesting thing about Disney Cruise Dining is their first 4 ships will have some of the same menus. The Magic Wonder Dream and Fantasy all have an animator's palette with the same menu. The show is a little bit different, but the menu will be the same on all 4 of those ships. The French menu will also be the same on all 4 of these ships. The restaurants have different names, Lumiere's, Triton's, Royal Palace, and Royal Court, but they are all that same French-inspired menu. As a matter of fact, the Dream and Fantasy have the exact 3 same restaurants with same menus. The Dream will have Animator's Palette, Enchanted Garden, and Royal Palace. Fantasy has Animator's Palette, Enchanted Garden, and the Royal Court. The difference is that on the Disney Magic, they will have Rapunzel's Royal Table, and on the Disney Wonder, they will have Tiana's Place Restaurant. That's where you get into some different flavors on those first 4 ships. If you go on the longer cruises, that's where you're going to get into some different menus, but for the general menus, they are the same. The Disney Wish changed that. It has 3 unique menus for their 3 unique restaurants. I think over time that may be where they are going with their dining, so that there are more individual experiences per ship, which would make sense because then people need to go on all the different ships to find out all the different menus and try all the foods. And if they are paying attention to feedback, dining got a little stagnant and it definitely needs some updates. They do have good food, but it's nice to mix things up once in a while. All of their 3 main dining restaurants do have unique unique menus. Also, with main dining, you can have as many items as you want. If you want all appetizers and no entrees, or all entrees and no appetizers, that's just fine. You can have as many as you want. With specialty dining, it's not the same because it is a paid experience. But with main dining, you can try as many items as you want. And if you're an adult that wants to eat off the kids menu, that's fine. If one of your tiny humans wants to eat off the adult menu, that's fine too. It's really a great opportunity to try new flavors. One other thing to really be aware of is that dinner does take about an hour and a half. It's themed. Sometimes the dinner is timed with the show, so they can't make it quicker. Well, they can if you really ask, but some of the dinners are timed with the shows, and so they will take that hour and a half because of that timing. And if you order a cocktail at dinner, that's usually going to take a long time as well. The bar is not located in the restaurant. They have to go out to a bar and get it. And it's easily taken 20 minutes for us to get a cocktail at dinner. Typically, if I want one with dinner, I'll go ahead and take it there. But the special cocktails per restaurant are on their dining menus, and you will just have to wait a little bit for those. So just be aware. It's Disney. You got to bring your patience, but it is such a wonderful experience. Beginning with the Disney Magic, their first ship, they have Animator's Palette, which is actually on all 4 of the first 4 ships. It'll have a little bit of difference from restaurant to restaurant as far as the experience, but the menu will be the same. They also have this cute little butter knife. I don't know what's going on with it. It has not been available lately. It is by far one of our favorite purchases on any cruise. I hope they bring this back. I hope they still have it in the gift shop, but I just don't know. They're really changing things up lately. Animator's Palette features the magic of Disney animation. This will have a unique dinner show starring Disney characters. The food at Animator's Palette is a fusion of Pacific Island foods, Asian cooking, and fresh California fare. People really love the black truffle pasta pursuettes here. It has a delicate champagne sauce that is really good. 2 of our very favorite things at Animator's Palette were a suggestion of our server. It is the lemon thyme chicken breast and the warm sticky date pudding. They serve it with a butterscotch sauce, vanilla ice cream. So delicious. I definitely suggest this one. The Disney Magic's main theme restaurant will be Rapunzel's Royal Table. During dinner, you will have a joyous celebration to welcome home Princess Rapunzel. The restaurant theme is a royal ballroom. They'll have glowing wish lanterns, colorful drawings reflecting Rapunzel's artistic endeavors, and lively entertainment throughout the evening. They will also have the bar that converts to the Snuggly Duckling after dinner. Well, at Rapunzel's, the sea bass is a huge hit, as well as the prime rib, but the tangled pasta with scallops is probably one of their most popular dishes. The Flynn Rider platter is also very popular. Lumiere's is the final main dining restaurant on the Disney Magic. Obviously, this is from Disney's Beauty and the Beast, where the dining room proudly presents your dinner. The menu is American and French fare with a modern twist. A couple of the favorites here are the French onion soup and the escargot, as well as their seared sea bass. People rave about that sea bass. One of the other favorites here is the Grand Marnier souffle. On the Disney Wonder, they will have that Animator's Palette restaurant. Their themed dining will be Tiana's Place restaurant. At Tiana's Place, you can travel back in time to a festive New Orleans-style family gala. Savor a rousing celebration of Southern cooking and live jazz music at this restaurant inspired by The Princess and the Frog. This is themed after a swinging supper club, complete with live jazz music, and of course, Tiana herself. Some of the favorites at Tiana's are their Creole-infused New Orleans seafood pepper pot that has calamari, shrimp, and scallops. It's really popular. They'll also have Cajun spice sea bass, shrimp jambalaya. The one thing to note here is these are not very strong Cajun flavors. They are good, just not very strong. And of course, for dessert, they're gonna have buttermilk beignets. Although, the New Orleans Banana Foster Sundae is pretty popular too. The last main dining restaurant on the Disney Wonder is Triton's, which of course is named after the Little Mermaid's father. This is considered an upscale restaurant offering fine dining under the sea. They will have classic American cooking for breakfast and lunch with a continental cuisine with a French flair for dinner. We really love the French onion soup here. Escargot is popular here as well. Their duck and their porcini mushroom stuffed pasta are really good at Triton's. This is the one warning I will give you. Do not get the 3 cheese lobster macaroni. It's just not good. Okay, you can order as many items as you want when you're at main dining, so if you want to try it, go ahead, but make sure and get something else as well. And I always get the creme brulee at Triton's. It's just delicious. Main dining on the Disney Dream will consist of Animator's Palette, of course. They also have the Enchanted Garden. On the Dream and Fantasy, they are going to have a little bit less theming in their restaurants. than they do on the Magic, Wonder, or Wish. They will have the Animator's Palette, which is definitely themed. Their second restaurant that they have for main dining is Enchanted Garden. This is inspired by the gardens of Versailles. Enchanted Garden has a serene atmosphere that recalls an elegant conservatory amid the foothills in France, and has menus from flavors around the world. They do not have a show here necessarily like they do on the Magic and the Wonder, but the restaurant is kind of a show itself. During dinner, the ceiling will change from a brilliant blue daytime color into the golden red of a setting sun, transforming finally into a captivating nighttime constellation of twinkling stars. There are a lot of other small changes around the restaurant. The flower light fixtures will bloom, and the centerpiece fountain is flooded with shimmering light. Just a really beautiful restaurant. One of the fun things they have there is edible flowers, just kind of goes along with the theme. Some of the favorites here are the ahi tuna and avocado tower, the lobster ravioli, and then the pan-seared sea bass is always popular at every restaurant. They have some really light desserts here as well, an almond meringue cake or a steamed lemon buttermilk pudding. But the favorite that I've heard is the chocolate torte. And last but not least, on the Disney Dream is the Royal Palace. In the Royal Palace, you can dine like royalty on French-inspired continental fare. Much of the restaurant's design is modeled after classic Disney films, including Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, and Beauty and the Beast. Again, this is just a really beautiful restaurant. Make sure you look around while you're in there. It's not necessarily a show, just more of a really beautiful dining experience. Showcasing a majestic medley of French and continental fare, Royal Palace serves a kingdom's worth of culinary delights. Some of the favorites here are the iced lobster and jumbo shrimp, the Dijon-crusted rack of lamb, and the creme brulee. So good. The Disney Fantasy will have Animator's Palette as one of their restaurants. In addition to Animator's Palette, they also have the Royal Court. This is similar to the Disney Dream. It's a French-inspired continental fare inspired by classic Disney princess films. This is going to have a very similar menu as well, with that French onion soup, lobster medallions, and the lamb being huge hits. And same theming as the other ones, Cinderella, Snow White, Seven Dwarfs, Sleeping Beauty, and Beauty and the Beast. And the Enchanted Garden is on the Fantasy as well, just the exact same as the Disney Dream, inspired by the gardens of Versailles, with those overhead lights changing from day to night. Really popular items: ahi tuna and avocado tower, pan-seared sea bass, and that almond meringue cake is pretty darn good. So as far as theming in the restaurants go, the Disney Wish is really taking it up many notches compared to the other ships. They all have their themed restaurants, but they don't have the shows like they do on the Disney Wish. Tiana's Place on the Disney Wonder and Rapunzel's Royal Restaurant on the Disney Magic are immersive experiences that are going to be similar to the main dining restaurants on the Disney Wish. The first one on the Wish is Arendelle, a frozen dining adventure. At this restaurant, you are cordially invited to celebrate the royal engagement of Queen Anna and Kristoff during this enchanting dining experience. In this restaurant, you will feast on a flurry of Norwegian-inspired dishes made by Oaken himself. Some of the favorites at Arendelle: this Elsa's Royal Baked Scallops is raved about. It has a shrimp tarragon bisque and people absolutely love it. Highly recommend that one. People really love the sea bass here, as well as the dry rubbed roasted pork tenderloin. And me, I'm definitely going for the garlic and thyme roasted beef ribeye. I think that's the only ribeye I've seen on the ships outside of the private islands. They did actually have it in the Cabanas restaurant. It just wasn't that good up there. It was super thin and a little tough. The theming at Arendelle is really an immersive experience. You will join Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, and Olaf for a gala of Nordic proportions. They've got a stage in the middle of the room that everyone will be seated around. There'll be local musicians performing. Elsa's gonna be there with her icy magic. It's really a fun experience, but beware, it is loud and there's a lot of dancing lights. After dinner, you can also join the festivities with fun table crafts, hilarious sing-alongs, and a grand finale that'll have everyone in the audience on their feet. Worlds of Marvel is their other immersive main dining room. Assemble with some of the mightiest and tiniest superheroes in a larger-than-life showcase of revolutionary quantum technology and world-class cuisine. This restaurant is all Marvel-themed. It looks really cool. They have a diverse array of dishes from around the globe. Popular items here will include the smoked salmon, the cream stream of porcini mushroom soup, and people really seem to like the chicken schnitzel. They also have a Delmonico ribeye steak here with black truffle butter that sounds amazing. And for the shawarma fans, they've got a lamb shawarma salad. And of course, you've got to have your dessert, so I would definitely get that quantum key lime pie, especially since key lime pie is no longer on the room service menu. During dinner, you'll help save the day when something goes awry with the Ant-Man subatomic technology. You will follow them as they embark on their first public speaking engagement on behalf of the Avengers. They will have a hands-on demonstration of the Quantum Core, which is a brand new device that uses highly advanced, yet unstable, PIM tech to shrink and grow targets at the push of a button. And of course, something's gonna go wrong. There'll be some misfires, some fun, some villains. I have heard that the show and dining experience in Worlds of Marvel is a little more calm than the one at Arendelle. That does not mean it will be quiet though. There will definitely be loud noises, a battle with villains, and moments of darkness. The final main dining restaurant on the Disney Wish is 1923. This is named for the year the Walt Disney Company was founded, in the golden age of animation. 1923 has an animator's flair. It's not animator's palette, it's not the same theme, it's not the same restaurant, but it is focused on animation. They will also have a diverse menu. This restaurant is California cuisine, featuring flavors of Asian, European, and South American influences. And people are saying that 1923 is the best main dining experience on all of the ships. This spiced ahi tuna with oyster mushrooms, black sesame brittle wasabi, and yuzu mayonnaise is really popular. Burrata mozzarella cheese and prosciutto, as well as the 4-cheese tricolor tortelloni are very popular as well. They have a salmon here that's really good, and the 1923 peppered filet mignon also is raved about. People are also really liking their vegetarian soft shell tacos. And for dessert, I think it's pretty hard to pass up churros with dulce de leche, although I would go for the orange almond cake. I just love orange. Per their website, at 1923, you can step back in time to the early beginnings of the world's oldest running animation studio, the Walt Disney Company. Combining classic Hollywood glamour with a dash of Disney whimsy, 1923 commemorates the year the legendary animation studio was founded in Southern California. What I really like here is that they have 2 dining rooms, one for Walt and one for Roy, the brothers behind the magic. 1923 has over 1,000 drawings, props, and other tools of the animation trade, including pieces from Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs to Frozen 2. Definitely take some time to look around this restaurant. Some people are also dressing up in 1920s attire that is not required. It's not even mentioned anywhere, but we're gonna do it when we go also. There are a few other random things that if you have gone on a Disney cruise before, or if you have done extensive Disney cruise research, you have probably come across these. For example, my fiance wanted brown rice on the last cruise, so he let them know that he would like some brown rice. It wasn't available the first night because we hadn't given them any notice and they didn't have any on hand. They did, however, make sure that it was available for him the rest of the nights of our cruise. We were also quite fortunate to get to try the Indian dishes. Many people have raved about the Indian food available on the cruise line. It's not available in many places. Sometimes they will have a curry dish or 2 at quick service on the pool deck, and they will have it at lunch sometimes as well. We got a fabulous curry at Triton's on the Disney Wonder. Our assistant server was Indian, and we got to talking about Indian food. We absolutely love Indian food. He had great suggestions, and he asked if we would like to have Indian food for dinner one evening, which of course we said yes, because I have heard about this before, that if you let them know the night before, you can get Indian food. The rumor is that there is already a lot of Indian food being made on the ships because of the variety of the crew. So if you request a day ahead of time, then they can make sure to have additional for your party. This is not promised. This is not listed anywhere. It's just a special thing that they will do. So don't expect it. Make sure you let them know ahead of time. If it happens, that's just a really fun treat. A couple of other things people like to do is perhaps get French fries at every meal or dishes from other restaurants. Some people want those pasta persuettes from Animator's Palette every night. While your servers can do this at times, it does create a stress because those dishes come from different areas and it can take a toll on the timing of dinner when you request those, especially if they are not requested in advance. If you want those every night of the cruise, let them know the first night so that they can be prepared for that. And of course, there's more. There's also specialty restaurants on board. Palo is their northern Italian restaurant. This is available on the first 4 ships: Magic, Wonder, Dream, and Fantasy. The Disney Wish is their newest ship. Instead of Palo, they have Palo Steakhouse, which obviously is a little bit more of a steakhouse vibe. You will want to make sure you get reservations. If for some reason you were not able to get the reservation, sometimes you can actually go for the first evening of your cruise. So if it's really important to you, you didn't get the reservations, you might want to consider going that first night if they have availability. They typically do because people want to just do the regular main dining for the first night a lot of times. In addition to Palo, the larger 3 ships also have a French theme restaurant. On the Dream and Fantasy, this is Remy, obviously inspired by Ratatouille. And on the Disney Wish, this is Enchante. These restaurants do have an additional fee. Reservations are required, as are dress codes. You absolutely cannot wear t-shirt, swimwear, or sports attire into Palo, Palo Steakhouse, Remy, or Enchante. And they are for 18 and up only. Palo's Northern Italian restaurant and Palo Steakhouse both have dinner and brunches. These brunches are available on sea days only. If you have experienced a Palo brunch in the past, they were a buffet style as well as a menu. Post-COVID, that has changed. There is no longer a buffet available for Palo brunch. I do hope they bring that back at some point in time, but since it's not back yet, I highly doubt it. The Palo brunch is a favorite among Disney cruisers. They'll bring out a plate of sweet pastries as well as some seafood. They have caviar, crab, multiple items to enjoy there as well. Obviously, they're going to have a lot of desserts, and they also have a menu of hot items you can order from. The chicken parmesan at Palo's brunch is one of the absolute favorite dishes. They add a bechamel sauce to it. I think that might be why it's so good. I always go for the eggs Benedict because I love that. They also have their flatbreads, which are really popular. They'll do kind of a sweet and salty or savory note depending on which one they have available when you go. My big tip here is to not schedule any specialty dining, brunch, or dinner in a row. So dinner, brunch, brunch, dinner, you're going to be so full it's kind of difficult to enjoy the food there. If that's your only option, well yes, then do it so you can experience it. Some of the favorites at dinner is their mushroom risotto, the Dover sole, which is filleted tableside, and the ossobuco. People also really love the chocolate souffle. Palo Steakhouse is exclusively aboard the Disney Wish. This restaurant is inspired by Cogsworth from Beauty and the Beast. It will still have that Italian fare, but also has modern steakhouse dining as well. One of the great things about Palo Steakhouse is they have Australian Wagyu, Japanese Kobe, and Miyazaki beef. Really excited to try those. They will also have that popular chocolate souffle. They will have a brunch option and private dining availability as well. You will need reservations, and they do have the same dress code as Palo on the other ships. Remy is their French-inspired restaurant with gourmet cuisine by 2 award-winning chefs. Remy is one of their most luxurious dinner experiences on board. It is an adult-exclusive restaurant serving fine French fare. Advising chef Arnaud Lallement is a 3 Michelin-starred chef who has numerous accolades around the globe and is the advising chef for Remy as well as the chef for Enchante on the Wish. With Chef Scott Hunnell from the award-winning Victoria and Albert's at Walt Disney World Resort being the second chef, they will each have their own French-inspired menu with seasonal ingredients from around the world. Remy has multiple experiences available. Their dinner is a prefix menu for $125 per person, or a la carte, which is priced by item. There is a gratuity included in those charges. Once your dinner is booked and you are on board the ship, you are invited to meet with a sommelier in Remy's wine room to pre-select your wines for the evening. These wine pairings will come at an additional charge. Some of the artfully prepared dishes at Remy include such delicacies as langoustine, duck, elk, sablefish, and Kobe beef. We had a Kobe and Miyazaki beef pairing on this menu. It was an additional charge and it was really good. Dinner at Remy is so delicious. I highly recommend it. And the service is top-notch. The champagne brunch is $75 per person, $30 additional charge when adding the champagne pairing. Remy Champagne Brunch is a French-inspired prix-fixe meal with items such as risotto, lobster cannelloni, gnocchi, and of course, dessert. They have a Remy dessert experience. This is a 5-course dessert menu with coffee, and this will include an in-depth discussion with Remy's executive chef and pastry chef, who take turns explaining the history and evolution of each dessert. All the way down to their Petites Assis de Remy, which is $50 per person, and includes a wine pairing with each course. This is only available to be booked on board. We haven't tried that one yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. With the small plates tasting, the Petites Assis de Remy, you will have a 6-course wine tasting paired with small plates of gourmet cuisine. I absolutely think this is the way to go because of the price tag on it. Also, Remy is like a 3-hour meal. It's a lot of fun, but I'm really looking forward to trying this one. If you have tried this experience, let us know what you thought in the comments below. This will be hosted by Remy's executive chef and sommelier, and this Tiny Plates experience is offered during the early evening hours on the first day of your cruise and concludes with dessert at the private chef's table. These dining events are offered during 4 nights or longer cruises, and brunches are on sea days. Disabilities. Their last specialty restaurant is Enchante on the Disney Wish. This is Spy Chef Arnaud Lallemand, the consulting advisor for Remy. Enchante is inspired by Disney's Beauty and the Beast, and they will be serving French-inspired cuisine as well. They will have the dinner options as well as brunch and dessert experiences. The champagne brunch will have a French-inspired prefix meal plus a decadent dessert, while the desserts has a 5-course dessert menu served with coffee. Again, this is an in-depth discussion with Enchante's executive chef and pastry chef. The pricing is a little bit different here than Remy. They have a collection which starts at $195. This is a 9-course meal. The champagne selection is an additional $140 per person. They also have the passion selection, which is $125 per person. That's a 5-course meal. And the wine pairing for that is $115. They also have an a la carte menu. Some of the things that they feature here are caviar and Maine lobster. They will also feature a lot of desserts and this beautiful cheese cart. And the selections here range from different types of fish to foie gras, pigeon, chicken of course, and beef. It's definitely an upscale experience. It's probably going to take about 3 hours. Reservations are required and you'll want to dress to impress. Formal or semi-formal attire is recommended. I'm really looking forward to seeing what treasures the new Disney treasure will hold. I'm excited to see which restaurants they're going to have on that ship. If you haven't seen it yet, we've got new Disney cruise news. And why would Disney do this? Dives into those menu changes a little bit more. And if you're enjoying the everything videos, we have everything you need to know for Disney Cruise in 2023. If you haven't yet, go hit that subscribe button. You can ring that little bell to let you know when we have any new videos, and we'll see you real soon with some more DisNEEDS.